Hello there, how are you doing? Welcome to my productive apartment / flat tour. Let's have a look around. Do you want to come on in? So first things first, we start off in the hallway. This is where people put their coats. We have a boosted board over there, shoes, general stuff. This is a very cool torture device that you can use to massage yourself. So you go like this, and then you can find, the spots that really hurt. And so I have this easily accessible at all times. Now if we swing around, we've got these two utility cupboards, which are some of my favorite parts of the house. This is the tech cupboard. Essentially what we've got here is storage, spare laptop, Wi-Fi router, loads of Apple products, loads of stuff. This is basically where I store all my tech gear. And this laptop is for connecting via a wired connection so that I can upload files to my editor via Google Drive, including this one. And then we have storage cupboard number 2, which also has a light switch. This is where we stockpile toilet paper when lockdown gets announced, and just random bits and bobs. Loads of Kleenex. Don't make weird comments about that. Loads of kitchen roll. It's good to buy these things in bulk. Moving on, let's start off in my bedroom. So I have the smallest bedroom in this 2-bedroom house, of course, because I'm such a gentleman. And this is basically the box room. So this here is the IKEA El Varley shelving unit type thing. We've got a few storage boxes here for random stuff. We've got some microphone gear, some folders, some shoe boxes. This is my collection of fragrances. Shout out to my friend School of Scents, who runs a fragrance YouTube channel, link in the video description. Various deodorants, moisturizers, the whole shebang. And over there we have the newly appointed 1 million subscribers plaque, which is something nice to sleep to every night when I feel lonely. I'm like, well, at least I've got 1 million subscribers, so that boosts my self-esteem. Then moving on here, we have some drawers. Drawer number 1 is for my t-shirts. This used to be entirely gray, but now I've decided that I'm going to branch out in terms of t-shirt colors, and now I have various colors other than gray. We have my underwear and sock drawer. The only underwear, for the record, that I use is the Uniqlo Airism underwear. It's like literally the best one, so I have like 30 copies of that. And then we have just some more drawers, sports stuff, and a few hangers. This was when I used to work full-time as a doctor and I would have to wear shirts to work. This is basically all of the clothing that I own, so it's all basically in one place. Moving on, here we have the bookshelf recently installed, where I have physical copies of books. I read absolutely everything on Kindle anyway, but if a book looks pretty, or if I want to show it off in videos and stuff, then I will buy the physical book and shove it onto the bookshelf. This is a Christmas card from Standard, my YouTube agency, with a little Christmas tree and the Standard/Nebula logo. More on that in a little bit. Got my Oxford Handbook of Clinical Medicine, Oxford Handbook of the Foundation Programme. I look at this before going to bed each night because it reminds me that I'm a doctor, and that makes me feel good when I'm also feeling lonely. Next we come to the bed. Now this is a small double bed with these linen thingies on it, and it's a bed, nothing special about it. It's not particularly comfortable, but I guess it gets the job done. Bedside table next to it that often has my blue light blocking glasses thingies, which at nighttime I clip onto my glasses because I'm really cool. And then that means I can block out blue light from my face, which apparently helps me to sleep at night, which is awesome. We also have an analog clock next to my bed because I don't believe in taking my phone to bed with me. So when I wake up in the middle of the night, I can hit the button and I can see what time it is. We have my Kindle Oasis, of course, and we have these 2 books. This is just my journal where I sometimes write, and this is a little happier by Darren Brown, which is notes about how to be happier in life. So that's on by my bedside. And we have here the Dyson fan. This is really cool. It's got like a little remote control for it, and it's just like a reasonably aesthetic fan, which I have on every night. And it's pretty solid. It's much nicer than a generic fan, and I've been using this for the last 2 years, and it's pretty solid. Final things in this room, we've got Harry Potter poster, we've got some Game of Thrones posters from Displates, who do the metallic type posters. We have another Game of Thrones one over there, and I'm thinking I might install some more shelves or maybe a wall-mounted guitar along this wall. But that's essentially the tour of my bedroom. Let's move on. Now we're in the hallway. First things first, bathroom, main bathroom. Come on in. Nothing particularly interesting here. I probably should have cleaned up a little bit before this video, but I didn't want to create an impression that I am less of a waste man than I actually am. These are my smart scales, where every morning, just before having a shower, when I'm naked, I will weigh myself, and then I can see a graph of my weight. And I saw the other day that I've put on about 6 kilograms in the last 3 months, thanks to lockdown. And I was hoping there would be like mostly muscle, but I think unfortunately the belly is starting to come out. This is the bathroom. Face towels I've started using recently, because I've heard that you're not supposed to wipe your face with the same towel that you use to wipe the rest of your body, which was a recent addition to my life. Face towels, moisturizer, professional lime scale remover. This thing is great. Random deodorants, toothbrush. Nothing particularly interesting. These are my Invisalign thingies, which I don't have written right now because I don't want to lisp. Oh, this is interesting. I have on the shower, I have a notebook, which is apparently waterproof, so that if I get ideas in the shower, I can, like, you know, I've used this once and I don't think it's quite as waterproof as it was. Well, actually, it's pretty good. So if I have ideas in the shower, I can write them down in my waterproof notebook. That's a bit grim. I don't want to touch that ever again. All right, so that's it for the bathroom. Next, we come down the hallway and we have the master bedroom, which currently belongs to my housemate Sheen, because I'm such a gentleman, so I've given her the big room, much to the chagrin of my grandma, who's always like, why did you give the girl the big room? I'm like, because she's a girl. Anyway, this is Sheen's room. This is the Haag Capisco chair or something, which Fully sent to me last year, so Sheen uses this as a desk. This is a nice desk from John Lewis, MacBook, solid desk setup. This is one of these like typewriter type keyboards. I'll put a link in the video description if you want to check it out. And this is also generally very pink and candle and pink and pink and pink and pink. Yeah, just all pink vibes, which is fine. Next we have the bed, which actually has a single mattress on it. So this is a double bed, but we were feeling a bit cheap so we didn't buy a double mattress. We have a single mattress spare from home. So there is just lots of space on the side, and then the rest of your, Sheen is behind the camera. These are the rest of her suitcases and stuff. And over here we have a built-in closet wardrobe type thing, which, what does it have in it? It's got a few more clothing for me. It's got my like suit and tuxedo and random blazers and this stupid leather jacket that I stupidly got tailored in Vietnam when I went there in 2017, thinking I was going to be the sort of guy. In fact, I'm going to wear it now. You guys can tell me, what do you think of my custom-made leather jacket from Hoi An in Vietnam? Don't I just look really cool? What do you reckon? Is it all right?
No.
No, fine. Guys, let me know in the comments what you think of my look. Ooh, it's hard to get out of this. I like to think it's the muscle that I've put on since then, but yes. And then a load of random boxes which have other random bits and bobs in them. Let's move on. This is the master bedroom. Master bedroom also has an ensuite. Oh, you've cleaned it. In preparation, it's always clean. Yeah, sure it is. This is the ensuite. Shower, sink, stuff, more pink stuff. Yeah, nothing exciting here, but this is the vibe. Smells a bit funny. Okay. Moving on, we now come to the kitchen. Reasonably spacious, not much going on. Pizza from last night, some cookies from before, sweet popcorn, hot dog buns. We were doing some homemade hot dogs the other day, so that was fun. Got this cast iron teapot that I almost never use. So my mum was right when I bought it in Japan and she said I was never going to use it. And I was like, no, I'm definitely going to use a cast iron teapot. She was like, I bet you're not going to do it. So thank you, Mum, you were right. Weetabix oats. This is a cool kettle. This is like a temperature controlled coffee pouring type kettle, which James Hoffman, the coffee guy on YouTube, very kindly sent to me. So that is awesome. This is my kind of coffee apparatus where I will use the Chemex, use a filter, and use the kettle to make coffee every morning. Plant over there, sink, microwave, NutriBullet that I use occasionally because I'm trying to do smoothies and stuff and be healthy. Stove, nothing particularly exciting going on. This is the Dyson V8 Animal something wireless Hoover, which is otherwise known as the spider sucking up device, which is kind of its main purpose. Oh, and of course, this is the pull-up bar, kind of the whole working from home lockdown vibes. Trying to become a Gymshark athlete, so I'll bang out some of these. 105. I try and bang those out when I walk through the kitchen, but it makes my body hurt, so I tried to do it not very often. Finally, let's move on to the living room. Welcome. This is the pride and joy of the house. This is the studio. This is where everything gets filmed. So let's start over here and work our way down. This is the LG 55-inch GX TV or something like that, where I watch stuff on Nebula and Curiosity Stream, more on that in a little bit. This is the Apple TV 4K that's connected to it. I think we've done a very good job of cable management because it's just this little white thing that handles all of the cables, and otherwise it's all fairly invisible. We've got these on this random TV stand. Need to catch my breath after those pull-ups. I should have done some dusting before we did this. Anyway, this is the PlayStation 4, which will be replaced very shortly by the PlayStation 5 controller. Dobble, fantastic board game. This is the Atom Mini Pro, which I was intending to use for streaming at some point when I become a pro streamer. We've got loads more board games at the bottom. Lord of the Rings, this exit game, Pandemic, One Night Ultimate Werewolf, codenames Hanabi, and we've got random bits and bobs in the cupboard. This is sort of our snack cupboard, so occasionally we have snacks in there, but not right now. Next, I will show you the balcony. If we come on out, not much going on. It's pretty cold, but the clothes racks are over here, and occasionally when the weather is a bit less grim, I sit down and have a coffee and do some like typing on the iPad out here. It all feels very decadent. And we've got some cheeky fake plants over there that don't need watering because why not? Now we have this corner of the living room. So plant 1, plant 2, plant 3. Random books over there that probably shouldn't be there. I should sort those out. This is like one of those old man chair things. We've got my Cambridge degrees mounted on the wall just to remind myself that I actually went to university and I'm not just an unemployed wasteman making videos on the internet. We have the Apple TV remote, we have the actual TV remote, we have a lamp, we have a radiator, and we have this Game of Thrones throw thing that my cousins very kindly gave me. And so that's nice to snuggle up in if I am watching something on the Apple TV. Moving on, next we have the sofa. This is like the cheapest sofa that you can get from IKEA, and it's really uncomfortable and really grim, but it's fine. I've had it for 2 years. Can't really be bothered to change it. The ukulele kind of sits on the sofa sometimes, and so you can do a little bit of that. Why not? Cushions. I quite like these ones. These are the House by John Lewis range. I think they look quite nice in the background. And up here, we have 3 posters from Displate. Again, these are metallic, but they've got a matte finish on them, so hopefully they don't reflect lights from like the studio lights and stuff very much. South Africa, which is where I used to live for about 5 years. It was actually a country called Lesotho, which is surrounded by South Africa, but they didn't have a Lesotho poster, so I had to pick South Africa. Then we have London, which is obviously in the UK, and then we have Japan, where I spent a summer in my second year of med school doing a research project, which is fun. And over here we have this set of 2 tables, which is pretty ideal because we often use them as like the place to either play board games or to actually have dinner, because we don't use a proper dining table, just eat pizza or whatever off of this table, which is quite nice. We have here the Pachira tree. This one is called Ron. I've got names for all the plants, by the way. So we've got Ron over here, we've got Ginny over here, we have Neville over here, he's the little one, and we've got Dean over here. You can see a naming convention. We haven't got Hermione because my Tesla is called Hermione and my wireless headphones are called Luna. So I like naming stuff around the house because it makes me feel good. We have main guitar. This is like the full-size one that I first bought in 2016 or something like that, which I've been using ever since. We have the bookshelf, which is a spider plant over there. This one doesn't yet have a name. Spider plant needs a name. Let's call it Draco. Why the hell not? Articulate, favorite board game of all time. Apple HomePod, books, Cambridge University graduation teddy bear. Again, reminds myself that I actually went to university. We've got some anatomy flashcards, which are there purely to look pretty because I've never once opened them in my life. We have the Throne of Glass series over here, which looks quite nice in book format. Books, board games, friend's hat, and some piano books. And this is a little tripod that I use for my phone when I'm filming myself playing the piano or singing a song. Your phone attaches to it. And it's quite nice because it also doubles as a selfie stick. So if I want to feel like a Pakistani tourist, I can like roam around with my selfie stick like this. But mostly I use it as a tripod for the phone. Moving on, we now have the guitar wall mounted. This is a Martin Mini, I think. It's similar to the one that apparently Ed Sheeran uses. Slightly out of tune, but it's also electroacoustic, which means in theory I can go busking with it and connect it to an amplifier, which is the plan at some point. So that's it over there. Over here we have a cajon. This is sort of like the music corner. Now cajon is one of those drums that acoustic musicians sometimes use. But I don't know how to play one of these. I kind of play it like, you know when you're in school and you're sitting on a table and you can like bang out some beats on the table, I kind of treat the cajon like that as well. So I can go, and it just sounds kind of cool when friends are over and we're having a little jam session. So this also doubles as a seat if we run out of seating, if we have friends over, when there is not a pandemic going on. Next we have the piano, or rather the keyboard. This is the Yamaha P125, and I've got a little post-it pad here that reminds me to practice things. So at the moment it says hiss practice, because my singing teacher has told me I need to hiss a lot more when practicing. So that's like ss, 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 ss. And apparently you're supposed to feel your abdominal muscles and your core tensing, or rather not tensing, but engaging when you're singing. So that reminds me of that. I'm trying to learn some of the songs from The Greatest Showman and trying to teach myself how to read music. So I'm not going to try and play anything, but normally this is like my jam. I'm also having piano lessons these days to get a little bit better at playing the piano. And then behind here we have basically nothing going on. Now finally we come to the desk. Now this is, I'm going to do a proper video on the desk setup, but very quickly, this is the fully Jarvis bamboo standing desk. It's usually in sitting format. This is the Herman Miller sail chair, which is my favorite ergonomic chair of all time. It's really nice, and I've set it up so that it is kind of the perfect height for me ergonomically. The guy from Herman Miller came over when delivering the chair and gave me some tips on how to sit ergonomically, which is why my desk is lower than I thought it would be. This is like a pro tip that I'm going to make a video about in a bit. Anyway, here we have the LG 49-inch ultra-wide monitor, which they very kindly sent me over a year ago, and I've been using it since then. We have the IQ Unix F96 keyboard, which I've been using for ages, Magic Trackpad, Logitech MX Master 3 mouse. This is all run by the 2018 15-inch MacBook Pro, which I'm going to very shortly replace with like a Mac Mini. We've got the Blackmagic eGPU and a post-it note saying "I hate you" from my housemate, which is very nice of her. We've got Logitech speakers, we've got a fake plant, we've got an iPad Pro, we've got some pens, we've got stuff going on. This is the Shure SM7B microphone, which I use for my Zoom calls and for my online courses. We have one chest of drawers over here, which houses random bits. We have the Focusrite 2i4 Scarlett audio interface. We have the cloud lifter thing. We have a plant here. This one is called Harry. This is the pièce de résistance on the plant front, and it sort of overhangs the desk, so I can feel like I'm in the midst of nature while I'm otherwise just sitting on the computer doing absolutely nothing. We have my 100,000 subscribers plaque, which I still think looks a little bit classier than the gold finish on the 1 million subscribers plaque, which is why it's here. And we have a long crack extending all the way up the wall, which apparently is normal, but I'm not quite sure why it's happening, and I haven't thought about fixing it yet. Speaker over there, lamp over there. And the other cool thing here is that we have a sort of semi-permanent overhead camera rig for when I want to do overhead videos related to tech. And we have this space light over here, which means I can turn it on with one of these remote controllers. And this is the Godox SL60 with the aperture space light extension, which means that if I'm filming a video at my desk, it just takes a single tap to turn the light on, and then that looks pretty sick. So most of this stuff has stayed fairly constant over the last year or so, but the one thing that has changed is that very recently we got this TV, which I made a little vlog about. And this is now my favorite place to hang out in the evenings, usually watching stuff on the Nebula app on the Apple TV. If you haven't heard by now, Nebula is an amazing streaming platform that's built by me and a bunch of other creators, and it hosts a lot of educational-ish content. So firstly, on Nebula, we've got my own videos, which are completely ad-free, and I've also got a load of other bonus content. So we've got my workflow series, which is basically where I take you through a deep dive into my top favorite productivity apps and how I use them. We also have our deep dive snippets series, where I take all of the deep dive long ass interviews that I've done with lots of people over the internet, and we chop them up into bite-sized chunks that you can watch. And on Nebula, we've got content from a load of other creators that you might be familiar with, including Thomas Frank, Lindsay Ellis, Wendover Productions, and Tom Scott. Now, the best way to access Nebula is by signing up to a subscription for CuriosityStream, who are very kindly sponsoring this video. Now, CuriosityStream is the world's biggest documentary streaming subscription platform, founded by John Hendricks, the founder of the Discovery Channel. And on CuriosityStream, you'll find hundreds of really high quality, high budget documentaries. And because CuriosityStream are a big fan of supporting independent educational creators, we've got this amazing bundle with CuriosityStream plus Nebula. And that means that if you sign up for CuriosityStream, which is less than $15 a year, you also get free access to Nebula bundled with that. So for less than $15 a year, you're getting access to hundreds of high quality documentaries on CuriosityStream, and you're also getting all of my exclusive content and a ton of other exclusive content from educational creators over on Nebula, which makes this, in my opinion, the single best deal in the streaming world. If that sounds up your street and you want to sign up, then head over to curiositystream.com/Ali or hit the link in the video description, and that will give you your CuriosityStream account, and then you'll get an email with your Nebula login details, and then you can watch loads of more content from me. Isn't that fun? Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention is that all of the lights in this living room are Philips Hue. And so right now we've got them in a sort of warm glow relax mode, which doesn't really make much sense because we've got lots of daylight coming in. But for example, I could say, Alexa, turn on energize in the living room. And then the lights will become this blue thing that makes you feel good. I could say, Alexa, turn on concentrate in the living room. And then they go a little bit more yellow. Or my favorite, Alexa, turn on ice and fire in the living room. And now they go kind of blue and orange, and this is the kind of vibe that I go when I'm filming videos. So I have like a blue glow in the corner of the desk, and then on this other side, I've got an orange glow over there. So this was a tour of my flat apartment thing. I'm gonna do another separate video about my desk setup, which is gonna be linked over there, if it's not there already. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.